Hai, saya Selita. Selamat datang di Diplomatik Club, acara yang akan menjelajahi hubungan internasional secara lebih menarik dan menyelami kisah-kisah unik para mitra diplomatik kami. Hari ini, kami kedatangan tamu yang sangat spesial, His Excellency Mr. Sergei Torshenov, Duta Besar Rusia untuk Indonesia. Episode hari ini sangat spesial. 75 tahun tonggak sejarah hubungan diplomatik Indonesia dan Rusia. Bersama-sama, pada episode kali ini, kita akan menyelami kisah-kisah yang lebih menarik lagi tentang hubungan kedua negara ini di berbagai bidang seperti kerjasama energi nuklir, pendidikan, hingga masa depan multilateralisme. Jadi, tunggu apa lagi? Mari kita temui Mr. Sergei.
Yes.
How are you?
Thank you, I'm fine. Selamat pagi.
Selamat pagi. Welcome to the Diplomatic Club.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining on this special occasion. It's such an honor to having you on Diplomatic Club. How has your experience been living in Indonesia so far?
Well, it's a very good impression, and I came back to Indonesia because I have been posted here previously, and I find out that Jakarta have some positive changes and new infrastructure projects like MRT, LRT, but something is still familiar for me.
Still interested for you?
Yes.
Wow, I think there is kind of spotted light here.
In my Visma, it was done last year when we celebrated another anniversary of Russian grand victory in what we called the Great Patriotic War, and for the rest of the world, the Second World War. And especially it's very important for us this year because we will celebrate the 80th anniversary of this victory, and every year we celebrate it here in the Visma or in some here in Jakarta. We organize a kind of commemoration ceremony, and last year at this occasion we planted this tree.
Are you
Commemorate this.
right? Are you the one who planted this tree?
No, unfortunately, this time I was in Moscow. I came only late in June with my colleagues who did it, but I'm pretty sure that this May we also will plant another tree, maybe somewhere here, maybe in other, we got here separate living area, Russian house. We will choose the place, but maybe there will be another one, the second tree here.
Wow, it's really great that your country have such a great idea to remember kind of victory days, and it's planted here in our land, Indonesia. It's really amazing.
But it was our common victory because Indonesia in Russia at the time was at the same side. We struggled against German Nazi fascism and Japanese militarism, and I really believe that even here it's not only for Russians. Some our Indonesian friends also participated in these events. We've got our Friendship Society, some youth association of friendship with Russia. Even we've got another association or organization called Gagarinsky Polk. Yeah. So it's we've got a lot of friends here, and we are very glad to organize such events with all of them.
Yeah, I would like to talk about our diplomatic relations. 75 years is a remarkable moment, both for Indonesia and also for Russia. And what do you think is the most defining moment in history of Indonesia and Russia relations?
Well, I believe we should maybe come back a little bit to the beginning of our bilateral relations, because in Russia, even here in Indonesia, some experts believe that end of 1950s and beginning of 1960s was a kind of like golden decade of our bilateral relations, especially when my country helped Indonesia and bring some military and military technical assistance to let Indonesia struggle for not only for independence but for territorial integrity, and with participation of ships and submarines procured by the Russian side, Indonesia managed to get back what was called West Area at that time, and so it means that now that time the whole territory of Indonesia was in the hands of government.
Okay, nice. It's really nice to know more about you from your point of view. And
Yes.
I would like to a bit shift about the other topic of the new president of the United States of America, Donald Trump. As we can see that about his foreign policy, it's more to shift into the inward-looking foreign policy. And what is your thought, maybe, Mr. Ambassador?
Well, so I believe we should not only listen what new president of America has told in his inauguration speech and during this, how many, only 6 or 7 days he is in the office. But let's look at the practical actions of the United States. And well, I think of course, I'm an optimist, but I don't think, especially when it comes regarding the American stance toward Russia, I don't think it will change a lot. So it will be same policy, and we already have heard from new president of the US a lot of things that if someone will not listen to him, he will apply a lot of taxes, tariffs, sanctions.
Right.
Sometimes even my president Vladimir Putin told that Russia is like of champions under the sanctions because it's so many sanctions against us. So I don't think that Mr. Trump can surprise us by any other sanctions or something like this. But we still hope that maybe he's very pragmatic and maybe some practical actions will help us to at least to put our bilateral relations with the US in the good mood and to get some achievements.
Right. And if you could define Indonesia in 3 words, what could they be?
Well, warm, friendly, and very colorful.
Okay, before we get into the main topic, let's settle down a bit.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, now since we are settled, I think let's go into the main topic of today's discussion. And Your Excellency, one of the key topics that from our review that we really would like to know more about the nuclear energy, then this is about the collaboration between Indonesia and also with Russia. And could you share more about Russia's expertise in this field and how it aligns with Indonesia's needs about the nuclear energy collaborations?
Well, I believe Russia it's one of the countries in the world where the nuclear energy is very well promoted, and we've got big achievements in this field. And I only would like to remember that Russia was the first country where the first nuclear power plant was established. So it means that we started to use nuclear energy in for peaceful goals and for peaceful means. And since then we've got a lot of NPP in my country, and I really believe, not because I'm a Russian ambassador, but according to objective data, that Russian state corporation for nuclear energy, Rosatom, is a leading world company regarding the construction on different kind of NPP, and really Russia is one of the countries that not only has sovereign nuclear technology, but in practice already built different kind of nuclear power plants of big size, and small modular and even floating. I believe so. The first and maybe the only floating middle-sized nuclear power plant is in Russia, and this is in use for already 2 years. And we even bring last year several Indonesian correspondents to city of Petek. It's a far north part of Russia, just to let them see how it's going on there. And that's why we propose the Indonesian side cooperation with Russia in the field of peaceful use of atomic energy. And we are waiting for, at this moment, we are waiting for finalization of internal procedures here in Indonesia. Hopefully, at the end of last year, the Indonesian side adopted what was called like a national general plan for electricity, where for the first time nuclear energy was put like one of the parts of this energy mixture, energy mixed here in Indonesia, and it was mentioned that about 7% of energy should be done through nuclear, maybe for 2040 or 2045, something like this. And it was mentioned that the first nuclear power plant should be constructed in West Kalimantan. Now we are waiting for finalization and establishment of NEPIO. It's a national organization that will be like a focal point for all nuclear activities and for nuclear energy. And we are trying to familiarize our technologies here. And well, since I have arrived to Jakarta, we almost every month got several kinds of activities like conference, seminars, presentations of Russian technologies, nuclear technologies here in Indonesia. And I stressed all the time that if Indonesia will choose Russia like a strategic partner in this nuclear field, it really will be for Indonesia cheaper, safer, and in more effective way to use this possibility of using nuclear energy. And last but not least, when we are saying about peaceful use of atomic energy, it's not only for energy. It's also nuclear for health, for example, nuclear for food or food conservation. So it's quite many different kind of possibilities of activities that we can do in this field. And Rosatom in Russia in general, we are ready to cooperate with Indonesia in different directions here. And we even already proposed specific scholarships to study this nuclear science, nuclear technologies in Russian universities. We provide every year 250 scholarships in general for Indonesia for different kind of science, but specific number of several dozens of scholarships especially for nuclear studies. So it means that we are ready. So now we are waiting just for some positive signs from Indonesian side.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that sounds amazing. And if I could make kind of highlights, you mentioned about the cheaper, safer, and effective for nuclear cooperation. And I would like to raise about the condition of Indonesia, and it's prone to earthquakes if we talk about the nuclear energy here. And how about this condition from your view to prevent if that kind of natural thing happens to Indonesia to build the nuclear power?
Well, first of all, we should find appropriate site, and I know that even at this moment when there are no final decision taken yet, but BRIN and some other Indonesian institutions are already dealing with this, and they find out about 30 different sites here in Indonesia. And what I have heard from our Indonesian colleagues that for they are first priority was to find out some sites where is maybe possibility of earthquakes was very small or not at all. And there are such really such sites, and we should also send, I believe, Russian experts. Of course, we will very carefully examine and study all the cases, and I believe that we will find appropriate site. It's one step, but the second one, we believe that the projects of Russian NPP that we are ready to propose for our Indonesian colleagues, it's also proof from different kind of threats, including this from the earthquake. So, because it's not only in Russia when we constructed it, it's in several foreign countries. At this moment, Rosatom has a very big portfolio. They are ready to construct about more than 20 units in different in 7 or 8 countries, including, by the way, several Asians like Turkey, Egypt, Bangladesh, India, China. So, well, maybe not all of them belongs to what is called like Ring of Fire here in the Pacific, but in any case, we ensure that all these NPP are very secure, and we are ready to ensure the security, because also why I told that it's cheaper, because it's already not only single NPP, or it's not something new technologies that never have been used. Such kind of NPP already exist and used in my country. So it means that when we make a lot of units, of course it's cheaper, because it's already we product it in quite many units every year. And it means that we are also looking for security of this NPP, because, well, we are also looking for our own security. Yeah? And yes, of course, we have heard about several accidents in Fukushima, in 3 Mile Island in the US, in Chernobyl in the former Soviet Union. But it means that also Rosatom take all these cases into account, and they really not only, I cannot say that not only try or would like, but they really did improve the technologies, improve the issues of security in this case, and that's why we are ready to say that really our nuclear power plants are safe and efficient.
Wow, so concerned about safety first, about the nuclear power.
Sure.
That's really great things. And speaking of the education, as we know that Russia offering numerous scholarships for every international students, including Indonesia. And what is the most collaboration about this scholarship to study at universities, and how it's significant for the developing country, for example, Indonesia, about the education and the scholarship cooperations?
Yes, I really believe that cooperation in education is one of the topic direction in our bilateral relations between Russia and Indonesia. In general, my country, the Russian Federation, provide more than 30,000 scholarships for foreign countries. Of course, our neighbors from Commonwealth of independent states and former Soviet republics, they've got thousands of these scholarships. But even for Southeast Asian countries, we are ready to provide a big number of these scholarships. At this moment, I believe, previous years, maybe champion was Vietnam, that got every year about 1,000 scholarships.
Right.
But for Indonesia, we propose, before it was 300. Unfortunately, after pandemic, the number of students slightly decreased, and this year we are ready to provide 250 scholarships. But hopefully, according to latest data, for these 250 scholarships, we already got about 500 applicants.
Wow.
So it means 2 applications for every scholarship. That's why I'm pretty sure that we will be able to use all these 250 scholarships this year, 2025, and even maybe ask a little bit more from Russian Ministry of Higher Education and from Россотрудничество, who is in charge of this issue also. Because, well, maybe some countries, some foreign countries will not be able to use their quotas in full, and that's why maybe something will left and we can ask it for Indonesia. But in my plans, in my dreams, maybe to increase it back to 300 in coming years, and maybe even to bring this number to 400 or 500. So it means that we really see that education in Russia is in big demand here in Indonesia, and it's also because education in Russia it still has a very high quality, and we are ready to provide to Indonesian young people to study in Russia in different universities, in different cities, and regarding different kind of science, even nuclear that I already mentioned. And according to, well, I can say that just yesterday another one exhibition about education in foreign countries in Indonesia have been closed here in Jakarta, in Jakarta International Convention Center, and several Russian universities participated there, and even maybe regarding foreign countries, Russia has the bigger number of universities being presented there. We've got 4 with their own stalls there, and other countries only 1 or 2 universities that has come to Jakarta. And they told me that a lot of young people has come with families, with mothers and fathers, and asking what is the condition and how to study in Russia. And well, we really see that a big number would like to come to my country for studies, and we are ready for this, and we really believe that we can engage in this cooperation in the coming years. And if more Indonesians will study in my country, I believe it will also improve our bilateral relations between every alumni from Russian universities, like you, like other young Indonesians, also could be called like, well, ambassadors of Russia, of Russian education here, because everyone can explain how good it's to study in Russia. That it's maybe of course in some part of my country, very big country and large, maybe climate is a little bit strong, cold winters.
Really?
But so it's all the times peaceful. People are also friendly. It's a peaceful atmosphere there. It's and we believe so. Even during the cold winter, by our hearts and soul, we can make the presence of Indonesians in my country much more warmer.
Exactly.
So that's why we also would like to bring the alumni of all the universities for such presentations and conferences, just to explain how good it's to study in Russia. And of course we will promote this kind of cooperation, and really we hope to get much bigger results in the future.
Yeah, agreed. And of course, Indonesia is one of the big fans to have scholarship and study in Russia, and for several universities especially. And you mentioned about the big number of Indonesian fans to study to Russia. And at this time, I would like to ask, in your view, about the advancing in science and technology from this study in Russia and the scholarship. What do you think about the advancing in science and technology for the students?
I really believe that it will help Indonesia to advance in science, because according to the data, most preferable kind of science that Indonesian would like to study in Russia is medicine, it's economy, it's foreign relations, international relations, and also modern technologies like computer technologies, information technologies. So it means that, and I really believe that Russia has a good competence in these fields, and this means so people that will be graduated from Russian universities will be able to promote science here in Russia, will bring more knowledge, modern knowledge about modern technologies, modern science, and it will help us to engage into bilateral cooperation not only in the field of education but also in the field of science, because some of Russian universities, especially technological universities, very good example, it's a technological university from Tomsk, city of Tomsk, where, by the way, it's probably the biggest community of Indonesian students in my country. It's about already 100 Indonesian in this Tomsk State University. They also would like to propose some modern technologies to Indonesia, and they are ready to cooperate with Indonesian universities or Indonesian institutions in the field of technology or something else, and especially green technology. Well, I really believe that we will help Indonesia to increase the number of scientists and us to find out new fields of cooperation in the future.
Great, I do really agree about your thought. And maybe let's a bit shift to multilateralism.
Yep.
And as we know that also Indonesia has been advocating for reforms, and there's potential for ASEAN and the Eurasia Economic Union to collaborate for this field. And how does Russia view to this opportunity?
Well, we already for quite a long time, more than 25 years, dialogue partner of ASEAN. ASEAN, one of our topics and priorities here in this region regarding multilateral cooperation, and we would like to promote and strengthen these ties in different fields. Of course, first of all regarding security and politics, but also we are looking for possibility to increase our cooperation in different fields: economy, trade, investments, by the way, in nuclear technology also, education, tourism. So it's really many different fields that we are ready to develop cooperation with ASEAN, like organization, but of course also with member states of ASEAN in bilateral way. And I also would like to say that because Russia is one of 5 member states of Eurasian Economic Union, we are still trying to finalize draft treaty on free trade economic zone between EAS and Indonesia.
Of course.
The first country was Vietnam. It was done several years ago, and in general with positive results, because after this the volume of bilateral turnover has increased, and we hope that same thing we will manage to do with Indonesia. The final round of talks has been done last July, and now we are just trying to finalize the text of this agreement. I have heard and even read in Indonesian newspapers that local authorities would like to finalize this draft treaty by the end of the first trimester. So, well, let's see whether we will manage to do this, but at least I really hope that this year we finalize this text and find out when and where we can sign this document, because of course we should understand that after the finalization of the text, there's some internal procedures in every state should be done, and only after this we can say about when and how we will sign this document. But it will be another one, I believe, for milestones in our bilateral relations and multilateral relations with Indonesia, because Indonesia already has such agreements on free trade or comprehensive partnership with so many countries, and Eurasian Economic Union could be one of important partner for Indonesia, because it's also a great market like Indonesian one, and we have a lot of goods, a lot of services, a lot of technologies to exchange, and I believe it will be useful for both sides, Indonesia and European Economic Union, Eurasian Economic Union.
So back to our special episode today to celebrate 75 years the diplomatic relation between Indonesia and Russia. And in your view, could you please share about the more potential cooperation for both this country, for Indonesia and also for Russia, instead of we already talked about the nuclear energy, education, and also about the cooperation between ASEAN and also the Eurasian Economic Union. Maybe the other insights?
Yes, of course, our bilateral relations are multifaceted, and we try to develop it in every direction, and you are right that we got, well, very good ties in politics and international policy. We support each other in quite many issues. Education in nuclear field we already touched upon, but should not forget, of course, about our economic cooperation, because well, we said quite many times that our two countries has a very big potential in economy, but unfortunately at this moment we cannot use it, and this is still in our plans, and we are looking for the meeting of bilateral intergovernmental commission for trade, economic and technical cooperation in April this year. It means in 3 months since now, and we are really looking for very specific in detail discussion what and how we can do for deeper this cooperation and find out maybe new beneficial projects for both sides. Should not forget also about, maybe we have started our today's meeting from this, about our very good ties in the history in military and military technical field, and we are still ready to develop, and we still have very good ties, especially between our militaries. And a very good example of this is the visit of 2 groups of Russian ships to Surabaya last November. And next month, just in a couple of weeks, ships from Russian Pacific Fleet will come to Bali to participate in international multilateral maritime exercises called Komodo 2025, together with some other countries like Malaysia, China, and so on. And so I'm very glad that Russia will be one of the partners, and I'm very glad that especially between navies of our two countries, the ties are very close. Russian ships are very frequent visitors to Indonesian ports, and last year our Indonesian toll ship was in Vladivostok, in Russian Far East, and we are looking for maybe Indonesian participation in main maritime parade in St. Petersburg, July this year. So it means that we have really good ties here, and we are really would like, and we are ready to provide Indonesia with some Russian modern military equipment, arms, and this is a topic of our future discussion.
Wow, that's
so this
really
is
great.
quite really many other fields, and also should not forget about culture, tourism, and people-to-people exchanges. because Indonesia and especially Bali, it's one of topic destinations for Russian citizens who would like to spend especially this cold winter, which is cold in Russia but very warm and here in Indonesia. And I also noticed that Russian culture is also in big demand here in Indonesia. Traditional songs, dances, classic musics, and using this opportunity of 75th anniversary of our bilateral relations, we really would like to organize several events, cultural events here in Indonesia or in Russia with participation of Russian and Indonesian artists. So this is under discussion now, but when we will have more specific information, we will share it with Indonesian audience, with our Indonesian friends, and I hope that a lot of Indonesians will come to this concerts, to these shows.
Well, it's totally clear about the potential cooperation for both countries, and you also mentioned before we are waiting for the other cultural event, maybe that too celebrate this 75th
Yes.
diplomatic cooperation between Indonesia and also Russia. Your Excellency, culture is one of the gateway to see the diplomacy. And in this field, could you please share to our viewers about the Russian culture?
So culture, it's very comprehensive, maybe sometimes complicated notion, and I believe so one interesting and very tasty kind of culture, it's cuisine.
Yeah.
That's why I would like to use this opportunity to tell you a little bit about Russian cuisine. I believe so Indonesians also like Russian cuisine, and today I would like to present to you one special kind of Russian food called blini.
Blini.
Sometimes some people believe so it's like pancakes, but I believe so when we are talking about pancakes, it's American food, it's different because Russian blini, it's bigger, a little bit more thinner, and in my personal point of view, much more delicious and tasty. And I would like, and also because even me myself, I like to cook sometimes blini, and this is very, very easy. You only need some wheat, milk, eggs, and maybe butter. That's all. And you can do it, and you can eat it in the morning for breakfast, and during dinner time. And it also could be made in different styles. Like you can see it here. It's just simple blini, it's with nothing, with fish. With this one with mushrooms inside, and this is another one style how to prepare them, and this is made in the form of like some people call money bag here, and some rolls which is also sometimes used here in Southeast Asia, in Indonesia too. I tried sometimes like kind of rolls, spring rolls, but this is in another kind with blini, and it's also very delicious. And here it's with the chicken inside, so you can see, and also you can eat it in Russia. It's some people like to eat blini in different ways. Sometimes with butter, sometimes with sour cream like here, and sometimes for even for dessert with kind of jam. Here it is jam with strawberry and black currant. So this is maybe one of the really authentic Russian food. And in Russia, just this month, by the end of February, we've got a traditional national holiday called Maslenitsa.
Maslenitsa. Yeah.
It's like end of winter in my country and beginning of springtime. And blini, it's a traditional and popular food at this holiday. Because it's, it's big, round and yellow, and this is like a symbol of the sun. Because after a long winter, the sun is coming, and people like to celebrate this occasion and eat a lot of blini, and especially after also quite long fasting time in Russia, they try and have such a lot of eat more food here. So, and I propose not only listen to me, but maybe please try something of this blini, and you can tell what. I hope you, when you was in Russia, you already tried it, but maybe you will remember.
I tried
Yes,
this,
please.
and I tried also to cook, and I never seen before something like this pocket bag.
Okay.
Maybe this one is very familiar for me,
Yeah,
and for some Indonesian also who studied in Russian, they also often to cook and eat blini because this is the most easiest one to cook
Yes.
and to try Russian food. And maybe I would try to start with this one, with the light one, and maybe you could share how to take it into the plate and.
It's easy, I believe.
Okay, something like that. And maybe do you have kind of history about this blini, how the babushka cook, maybe the old women from Russia to cook this blini?
Well, it's I already mentioned. It's I believe so. It came from history of my country because it was very easy, and that time the wheat was one of the maybe main staple food in the countryside, in the villages, and because it do not need any other ingredients, it was very easy to prepare such food, and you only need, as I already mentioned, some ingredients, and then you can to fry it. It's easy, I believe.
Yeah, I would like to try.
You need only maybe 20-30 minutes to prepare such blend.
Very good. The taste is still the same when I tried it in Moscow. Can you cook this blini?
Yes. I can, and sometimes, especially during weekend, to make a tasty and good breakfast for my family, for my children. I can do such blini, and it's easy even for me.
Is there kind of story behind this blini about to go to the diplomacy maybe? Is it one of the gateway as well to go to diplomacy with the blini?
Well, I don't know any story regarding between diplomacy and blini, but when we try to organize some events, we can bring this blini like a traditional Russian food to let our colleagues, our partners to enjoy about this, and no.
So
I believe so. Really, during especially different receptions and events, we almost all the time blini it's on the table, just to introduce Russian cuisine, and let us and our colleagues to enjoy this kind of Russian food.
And I just spotted the most interesting one. This one is, seems like you mentioned before, like spring rolls, and also in our country we have kind of risol, the same, but risol we have to fry it into the oil, but this one is not.
No, this is not. This is, you just make blini and then put some toppings inside and make a roll of this, and you do not need to fry it anymore.
I see.
It's easier.
It's very easy. And what about this one? Is there kind of a history also for this pocket blini?
No, I think it's maybe already something modern. Yes, really like a kind of bag here. But well, so it's not only tradition, but we always would like to maybe bring something new to modernize it. So it's a modern style how to prepare this blini and how to present it on the table.
This is really interesting because it's very rare, I think, to find kind of this blini in your reception, especially in your Russian reception, for example. But at this time, at your place, at the embassy, I could find something like this. Your Excellency, thank you very much for joining us today on this special occasion. It's really great to having you on Diplomatic Club. I hope that this cooperation between Russia and also Indonesia is going to have a great future ahead as a very good partners.
Well, I'm pretty sure that, of course, we will stay as partners for quite long time, for the future, for coming years. And I'm also believe that under the presidency of Prabowo Subianto, President of the Republic of Indonesia, our bilateral ties will develop, will flourish, and we will be able to say, especially when we will celebrate next anniversary of our bilateral relations, that we achieve a lot during this year, and then it will be not only this blini, any other kind of culture, but we can say maybe and show some practical results, outcomes of our bilateral cooperation, specific projects, maybe specific plans or something like this. And I believe so both sides, and especially my embassy and me like ambassador, we will work in this direction. We hope that we really will manage to do a lot for, of course, it will be for benefits of our two nations, of our two peoples. And once again, it was my pleasure to be here in this diplomatic club, and I hope so maybe in the future, not only in occasion of such jubilee, but in other good occasions, we will meet once again, and I will try to explain more about my country, my nation, and my people. Once again, thank you very much.
Your Excellency.
It was my pleasure.
Terima kasih
banyak
teman-teman yang sudah menonton tayangan kami di Diplomatic Club episode kali ini. Jangan lupa untuk memberikan komentar, like, dan berlangganan saluran kami. Kami juga mengharapkan untuk bagian mana menurut Anda yang paling menarik dari tayangan kami ini, dan kami harap juga Anda dapat memberikan saran negara mana yang akan kami kunjungi selanjutnya. Until then, stay curious, keep exploring the world, and see you on the next episode.